All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Apostle Elders in New York, GMS, and salutations to you, Akim, that's teaching your lives on the line for it. My name is Maya Kaala Bangad with Chicago branch of Great Millstone. I'd like to make a disclaimer that we are not black Hebrew Israelites, we are Israelites. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the speckled birds, scatterbrass. Speckled birds are Israelites that look like other nations, but their father's bloodline go back to the 12 patriarchs of Israel. And black is a color, not a nationality, okay? We are not affiliated with any black identity extreme groups. We are not affiliated with any Islamic groups. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. We are not affiliated with any extreme groups. All right, so right here, watch the Times. It says Joe Biden wants reparations for blacks expanded to include Native Americans. Now, when Jake see this, Jake would get angry. Was this emotional? They getting emotional. All right. And they would go on a emotional tirade, all right, because had went through this Jake on Facebook, well, she a woman anyway, so she got emotional stuff, women emotional. It said Job chapter 39 verse 17, she should be deprived of her wisdom, which is another reason why you women shouldn't be teaching. You women, you're not to be meant to be teachers of the nation of Israel, all right. With teaching the scriptures and anything, your job is to be a best example for the young sisters. All right. When I'm talking about Israel, I'm talking about that trying to teach the men particularly. All right. Your job is to be a good example to the sisters. All right. By obeying the laws, statutes, commands, by obeying your husband and showing the sister how to be a woman and how to take care of the household. Okay. That's your job. All right. All right. And then we got the other Jakes, man. A lot of you scoffers, you're to tell you the truth, man. What about to go into? A lot of you scoffers are actually rebellious Gadites and Reubenites. Rebellious Gadites, Reubenites. All right. Majority of you are rebellious Gadites and Reubenites. Gadites, so-called American Indians or Native Americans, all right, Aboriginals, all right, and the Reubenites are so-called Seminole Indians, all right, and those are a lot of you scoffers are. A lot of you scoffers, you think you Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which you're not, man. All right, you from the Northern Kingdom, okay. Now they will see this and go off and talk about what the hell, a bunch of and this how they think. Oh, a bunch of goddamn Asians. What they need reparations for, man? All right, cause they in a little sick mind. All right, because it said Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5, the whole head of Israel sick, and we sick, man. All right, we know that as a whole nation be destroyed. Okay, and get this right here. Was it Hosea chapter 4 and 6 says, y'all destroy for lack of knowledge. All right, because we disobey laws, statutes, and commandments of true power, Yahweh. All right, so he put a curse on us, and we prophesied that we was going to lose our heritage. It says Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. It said, "Thou even thyself should discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire at my anger, which shall burn forever." All right, so we discontinued the heritage, man. And guess what? When we lost it, we lost their heritage, man. All right. And that was gonna happen, man. And Most High used Esau, because it said Esau's his sword. All right, let me get this right here. Psalms. It says Psalms 83:1. It said, "Keep not thou silent, O your household, thy peace be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." All right, so they make rebellion against Yahweh. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Talking about us, the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they had consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee." All right, the tabernacles of Edom, so-called white man, Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, Moab, so-called Chinese. All right, that and the and the Hagarenes, all right, which are the Hamites, all right, Gabal, Hamites, all right, the Africans, Ammon, so-called Japanese, Amalek was the leader of the nation of Edom, the Philistines, all right, Hamites with the Hamites of Tyre, all right, Assur, all right, the Assyrians is also joined with them. They had hoping the children of Lot was again Moab and Ammon. Okay, so these are the nations that had a confederate against us to take away our heritage, man. All right, and that's what happened, man. All right, because now you gotta because our forefathers and our mothers, all right, they knew who they was, man. All right, they had that knowledge, man. But they lost it, man, because our people have fallen in a low state. And the scripture said Most High should be a remnant of Israel. All right. And guess what? Remember, it had to be some type of information among certain elders, man. But as a whole nation, we for a time under this curse and captivity. Now we waking up. We was gonna be blind to the fact that we were Israelites and blind to what really happened in history, man. And this is why you have to go to our Heavenly Father Yahweh for knowledge, man. All right, because he has the keys, man. He has the keys to open up our minds and give us this wisdom and knowledge that we had before, man, before our fallen state. All right, it said James chapter 1 verse 5 said, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given to him." All right, so you have to ask the Heavenly Father Yahweh to give you the understanding of the dark sayings of these scriptures, man. And he gonna guide you to what? Men to heaven, man. Particularly men of GMS. Okay. And the other Israelite groups out there that's dividing this word right and sincerely, man. All right. Okay. Now right here it says what so it said Joe. It says right here. It says, and don't be fooled by it. Joe Biden is a deceiver. All right, he's not for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He's a liar. All right. It says what it said. Joseph R. Biden passed Wednesday during a virtual town hall event with the NAACP, which was founded by Amalek. All right. So the people, the Jewish people, because they're Jewish, means something like you, but not really the Jews. All right, like my shoe is bluish, but it's not exactly blue. All right, on a chance to endorse reparation for Black Americans. All right, so that's another byword, Deuteronomy 28:37. Nobody's a color black, and this land was named after Americo Vespucci. Americo Vespucci. Salah. I ain't saying that name wrong. Americo Vespucci. All right. Forgive me, I pronounced that wrong. Saying that such a package must include Native America. All right. So ain't no such thing as Native Americans. You're not gonna find it in the scriptures. All right. These are from the tribe of Gad, the northern Native, so-called northern Native Americans or American Indians. and Reuben are the so-called Seminole Indians. All right. Those are bad words for um, Black Americans. Is incorrect. The correct name for the individuals are the tribe of Judah, and the correct name for because this is a bad words. These are bad words. The correct name for the so-called Native American, so-called American Indians is Gad. All right, and they're burning so-called Seminole Indians. The correct name for them is Reuben. All right. It says, pressed on the issue of Mr. Biden, the presumed Democrat potential nominee, he supports the concept but said he wants to allow studies on the issue to play out before he goes all in on direct pavement to Judah. All right. Into Judah, Gad, and Reuben. And the answer depends on what was and will include Native Americans as well, as he said. Mr. Biden said in the meantime, all right, talking about the Gadites and Reubenites, Mr. Biden said in the meantime, other things be done to lift up Judah. All right. He said Judah should have more asset person homes and said funding should boost to Title I schools that serve children from low income families. All right. So, but what Esau's not going to tell you is that a lot of you people who think you're so-called Black Americans or African American, you're actually from the tribe of Gad and Reuben. All right, and that's what happened, man. Esau, he was the best kept secret is that he kept that he came over here and he enslaved the so-called Native Americans. All right, and the rest of the tribes here in the Americas. All right, it says what? Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 33. All right, it said, "Thus said Yahweh hosts, the children of Israel, the children of Judah was pressed together. All that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go." So they had the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. The southern kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. Then you got the northern kingdom. All right, starting with Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans, tiny, in Arawaks. All right, except for Cuba and Dominican Republic. All right. So, that's Ephraim, those tiny Arawaks, except for those islands I just mentioned. All right. And then you got the rest of the tribes, Issachar, Gad, Reuben, and so on and so on. All right. So they held the so-called Negroes and the so-called American Indians in captivity. All right. And they refused to let them go even today, man, because they're not telling our people that they are the Israelites. They're not telling our people the truth of slavery. So that's why you have to ask Yahweh for this wisdom and knowledge. All right. And this is the book, Slavery in America, Eyewitness by Dorothy Snyder and Carl J. Snyder. All right. So, and this one you gotta get into it, man. All right. This right here. And it's a good book. I've asked you brothers to get. It may be a big book, but it's a good book, Cause the brothers, I can hear on right now, see how big the book is and everything, man. All right. All right, so it says right here, chapter 9. It said Indians as slaves, as friends, as enemies of black slaves, and as slave holders, 1529 to 1857. All right. And each, slaving each other, man. That's in Deuteronomy 28 and 54. All right, so you have an evil eye towards his brother, man. So you had Gadites enslaving Gadites, you had Judites enslaving Judites, and you had the vice versa, man. All right. It said the enslavement of Indians by whites, by Edomites. So no, they're the so-called white people. They're not. That's what it says so-called, because their skin is not white. All right, skin is translucent, showing their flesh and blood. All right, I mean they're red. All right, okay. But I'm gonna go down here. It says all right. So I'll just put this part here. It says these practices were risky for Indians, however, for colonists sometimes broke the terms agreements selling the Indians, some of the guys abroad, or refusing to release them in the end of their terms. All right, so they was enslaving Gad, man. All right, it says right here in this letter, it says right here, it says, if a just war the Lord should deliver them into our hands, we might easily have men and women and children enough to exchange for Moors. All right, talking to Jakes from West Africa, with talking about blacks. All right, which will more gainful pillage for us than we conceive. All right, okay. So all right, so Davison's is changing the Gadites, get the Gadites, so-called Northern Native Americans or American Indians, for the Judites. All right, so-called Negroes. All right, but see that's a secret that's kept, man. All right, and then you go right here. It says what? It says 1679. It says New York abolishes Indian slavery, declaring all free except such have been formerly brought from Bay of Campeche, Mexico, and other foreign parts. All right, but really they didn't abolish anything, man. Link it with so-called Emancipation Proclamation, man. It ain't free none the so-called Negro and the so-called American Indian was still enslaved, man. All right, so that's why we call this man Diablo. All right, which is Latin for devil, which means deceiver. Okay, so I'm just going to the part where the so-called American Indians was enslaved. All right. Let's go read you a couple search. It says Indian slaves. It says, since the Indians of Florida can never be made submissive and become Christians, they should be placed on ships and scattered throughout various islands, and even on Spanish Main, where they might be sold, as His Majesty sells his vessels to the grandees in Spain. Interpreter Hernando de Escalante Fontanito, 1560 or 57, and Labur, Indian Slavery, page 48. All right. Then you go down here, it says what? It says, come home and found my Indian girl had like to have knocked off my Theodore on the head by letting her fall. Whereupon I took a good walnut stick and beat the Indian to purpose till she promised to do so no more. All right, so you had a guy like they allowed to eat my baby, and they give it like the hell this eating my baby. Let the eat my baby hurt herself, man, because she was tired of being a slave, man. It says where it says Peter Datcher, Massachusetts, diary entry of about 1674 and elects enslavement 55. All right, here go another excerpt. It said, and it shall be lawful and hereby warned. And this they telling themselves, man, like I said, Psalm 64:8 said, they tongues shall fall upon themselves, man. It said, it shall be lawful and hereby warned for him to make sale of such prisoners as they think meet. They being such lawful allows to be killed. Instruction the governor of Massachusetts to Captain Benjamin Church to attack Indians, or attacking Gadites, January 15, 1676, in Labar Indian slavery. All right, 142. Okay. All right. So they telling themselves about this, man, because Jay thinks slavery happened when they just snatched up a bunch of people in West Carolina. They had, no, man, it was going it wasn't no damn triangle. It was a circular slave trade, man. They got us from Spain, Portugal, West Africa, East Africa, out of Levant, all right, which is the Middle East, down there in South Africa, all right, because you had Israelites down there, all right. They not the Zulus, they not the Israelites. You had our people among them, all right. And they even got us from the Pacific Islands, man. The Pacific Islands, Ireland, England, Spain, France, man. All right, Ireland, England. I don't know why I say France, but I gotta make sure to look that up. Scratch that. But Ireland, I know Ireland, England, and Wales and Scotland. All right, I know that for sure. All right, it says right here. It said North Carolina Indians are not so robust in their strong bodies as lift great burdens and endurance labor savage work as the European. All right, so he lying, man. All right. One doesn't work Gad. The reason why somebody got at work they might have performed because they was starving Gad and stuff, man, and beating the hell out of. All right. Yet some that are slaves prove to be very good laborers, but of themselves they never worked as the English do, taking care of no further than what is absolutely necessary to support life. In traveling hunting, they are very indefatigable because it carries a pleasure along with the profit. Most of the savages was a byword. All right, they call Gadites and Reubenites savages. Most of the savages are addicted to drunkenness, a vice they never acquainted with till the Christians came amongst them. John lost in 1709 and a loss of enslavement. Page 142. All right, cause you introduced wine alcohol to him, man. All right. All right. It says cause they they probably had their own drinks and stuff like that, but nothing like like you devils brought, man. All right. And most have been that most like that that rum and something else, man. All right, but they haven't been cause they've been over here a little bit after Syrian captivity, man. 720 BC, so it's been a long time they had the type of liquors that we used to have in the East, man. All right. It says right here, it said the Indian wars are God's punishment upon the slave owners. All right, because God will jack them up, man. All right, but they still going down as a nation, man. All right, you had Judah jacking Esau, they still went down. It said all we can do is lament in secret those sins which have brought his judgment upon us, right? All right, and he might know, so they getting judgment, man. But hey, your whooping stick coming soon, man. You ain't getting it early, man. All right, so you getting judged right now. All right. Back then, you was in your heyday. All right. It says, our military men are so bent on revenge, so desires to enrich themselves by making all Indians slaves that fall into their hands, but such as they kill, that it's in vain to represent them to cruelty and injustice such procedure. Anglican Victor Gideon Johnston, 1715, in the Ball Slaves, page 95. All right, it said these Indian slaves, all right, Indian, that's a bad word, man. All right, and the so-called the Gadites and Reubenites, The rest of the tribe don't come from no India, man. All right. It said these Indian slaves being mixed with our Negroes. All right. So that's what that also that Hosea 7:8, because they mixed among the people. They mixed with not only with Esau, rest of they mixed with the Judites and Benjamites and the Levites, man. All right. It says right here, it said these Indians being mixed with our Negroes may induce them to desert with them. Right? Cause they was afraid of Gad and Judah together, man. Has already happened as they may maintain relationships with them, which might uh, might be disastrous to the colony when there are more blacks. Louisiana Governor Etienne Boucher de Perez, 1727, in Us and the American Indians 108. It said a French army rebarked and carried the Natchez as slaves to New Orleans. All right. Where they are put in prison, but afterwards, to avoid infection, the women and the children were disposed on the king's plantation and elsewhere. All right. So they sold them out. Among the women were female son. What did it say? Was the female son called Strongarm, whom they told me all she had done in order to save the French. Sometime after, these slaves were embarked to San Domingo, Dominican Republic, in order to root out the nation in the colony. All right. So Esau was using them, man, these Gadites. And told Simon Lepage Dupras, describing the actions of 1730 in the Lotzer enslavement 227. All right. It said Indian slaves were also full of pride and resentment and will not hesitate to kill their master in order to gratify their revenge of supposed injury. The girls are more docile and assimilate more sooner the manners of the civilization. John Long Journal 1768. 82 in the Lotzer enslavement 87. All right, let me see. It says the Indians from Stono came down in straggling parties and plundered the fruits of labor industry. Being accustomed to practice of killing whatever came their way, they ranked the planters, hog, turkeys, and geese among their game. Freely preyed upon them. The planters as freely made use of their arms in defense of their property, and several Indians were killed during their depredations. This occasional war, and the Indians poured their vengeance indiscriminately, as usual, on the innocent and guilty for the loss of their friends. Governor West found necessary to encourage and reward such colonists as would take the field against them for public defense. Let me get this camera focus. For public defense, accordingly, a price was fixed on every Indian the settlers could take prisoners and bring to Charleston. The captive savages was disposed of to the traders who sent them to the West Indies, and there sold them for slaves. Alexander Hewitt, 1779. In Lotzer enslavement, page 103. All right. So I'm going to come back with part 2. Shalom.